Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for clicking on this Smashy Smashy Eggman movie reviews and more bonus video. Merry Christmas, I guess. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna put one of these out for Christmas, but here I am. Um, so I went and did my Christmas stuff, and after I was done doing Christmassy things with family, I was really close to a movie theater, so I went and saw Babylon, which is the last movie of 2022 that I really wanted to see before I start nailing down my rankings and what my top 10 favorite movies are from this year, which I basically could have done without seeing Babylon. Much like Night Glass Onion, this isn't a bad movie. It's gonna sound like it's a bad movie. Um, it's not a great movie either. Um, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to talk about this movie with as little. Um, there's nothing to spoil. Like I'm gonna say with as little spoiler as possible, but there's nothing to spoil in this movie because this movie really doesn't have a plot. It's a character movie, which can be really good. There can be really good character movies, and they can be done super well. This one makes you think it is. The first half an hour of this movie to 45 minutes is really well done, and it's really captivating, and it really brings you in to these characters, especially because I think the first half hour is before you get the title of Babylon, which of course is referencing the ancient city of Babylon, which is just basically, it's I don't want to get into it because I know I'm tired and I'm gonna explain Babylon. But basically, it's this. It's. I feel like I need to explain Babylon because it's why this movie exists. But at the same time, I know I don't have the right words to explain what Babylon was. So I'm just gonna move on from that. But it takes a half an hour to get there, and it's a pretty interesting half an hour because you get this great opening with we meet Manny, who is one of our three main characters. He is trying to transport entertainment for a party going on at a famous person's house. I don't remember his name because you don't even meet the guy. He is needing to transport an elephant. A dude with a horse trailer shows up and says, "Oh yeah, one large horse." No, I said elephant. I said elephant over the phone. And then you cut to an elephant. And there's some some good bits of them trying to get the elephant up a hill to this party using 20s. This movie is set in the 20s and 30s, using a 20s era car and this truck. And there's some good moments there, and there's some good quality stuff. We then get to the party, and it's this raucous, wild, like a Gatsby party turned up to 11 kind of a party, and it's cool, and it brings you in. And you get this weird moment of a dude who has a girl piss on him, and you're like, oh, that's unnecessary. This actually is a plot point. This comes back to further the journey. Because again, there's not really an overall plot. There's just a journey going on. But it furthers the journey. So it makes sense that this is here. As much as there's a lot about this 3-hour movie that isn't needed, that is actually part of the journey. So that makes sense. Okay. We then meet Brad Pitt, who is a famous movie star. Silent pictures, obviously, talkies aren't a thing yet. In the silent picture era, he is having an argument with his wife, who's apparently played by Olivia Wilde. I learned that by looking up the cast list on IMDb and thinking for a second, because you never see her face. Like, I get it, sticking somebody famous in a nothing role, but then you give that wink to the audience, like, wink, yeah, it's Olivia Wilde, yeah, but you never see her face. All you do is hear her voice, as she basically says she wants a divorce. She wants to divorce Brad Pitt, and that's the end of her character. She's never seen again. She is the first in the string of Brad Pitt's love interests throughout this movie, because this movie spans years. So we move forward into the party. Manny is basically just a fixer. He's a very intelligent man who is just hired to fix things, fix problems. Uh, we then meet Margot Robbie's character, who believes she's a star, but she is just an out of control woman, like drugs and like really into this party and this bacchanalia of a party. She meets Manny. They hit it off. Manny's eventually drugged away because the girl who was peeing on the dude OD'd, and they need to figure out a way to get her out. So they use the elephant as a distraction, which again that plays off. The girl was supposed to shoot a scene for a movie the next day, and they decide that Margot Robbie, her character, will be the fill-in, and that's why the peeing was part of the journey. And then it becomes the story of these three characters, one who's already famous and two who are making their way in Hollywood, one as an actress, the other one just slowly climbing the ladder but of off-camera work, because that's what Manny does. He ends up taking Brad Pitt's character home the next morning, and Brad Pitt tells him, I'm taking you to the set. And that's how he enters the movie world. And the movie just goes on from there. And it's about these people's journeys, and sometimes they interconnect. I feel like Brad Pitt... So everyone does a great job in this movie. It's really well acted. I feel like his story... I get why it's there. I get why you have the story of the established actor who, once the change comes from silent pictures to talkies, his career is destroyed. But you get that same thing with Margot Robbie. Like, she becomes famous doing silent pictures, but she's unable to transition into talkies. So, like, I don't know we needed it twice. I don't know we needed that same thread twice in this movie. And I feel like Brad Pitt, once he got Manny going, could have drifted into the background. Because they do that with plenty of characters. Brad Pitt's main arc is that he has a friend who gets super depressed every time a woman breaks his heart. And that happens regularly. Oddly enough, this character is super important. I don't remember actually seeing his face. I never remember getting a distinct shot of his face to get a look at him. I just know he's there until he's not. And there's some other characters that seem really important, but aren't, because they just show up and they walk in and out of the movie. It's real life. Like, there's some great moments of reality in this movie with those characters, because, people do just walk in and out of your life. You lose focus. You're connected to somebody, and then you verge into two different directions, and you're no longer connected to that person. That's Brad Pitt and the Manny character. They just diverge off into two different worlds, and that is how... But they never reconnect. So again, this is reality, but because we're watching a movie, I don't want that. I want these characters to, like, reconnect at some point and continue the story, especially since Margot Robbie's character and Manny's character are very tightly connected and only separate for about 45 minutes of this movie. Otherwise, they are connected stories. So the fact that Brad Pitt's story is just circling there for the entire time, and it is so similar to part of Margot Robbie's story, it's hard to justify that story. And again, it's a 3-hour-long movie. It's got a lot of stuff in it that I don't think it needed. I don't think we needed to spend 10 minutes setting up that there's fake money in one scene. From the time it's made, the statement is made, to the time it's discovered. I don't think we needed to spend 10 minutes between there doing nothing, not progressing anything, just doing stuff. There's some other points too. I feel like it drags. It starts to drag, and the ship never rights. Because by the time you get to the end, I was just glad it was done. Again, it's a fine movie. It's very well acted. And it has some enjoyable moments. It has some great comedy. There's a scene where Brad Pitt's talking to another guy in the bathroom about the move to talkies, and he goes, why do people want to hear real life on the screen? And they're in a bathroom, and from one of the stalls, you hear a dude taking a big dump, because that's reality. Again, that's reality. Is that if you're in a bathroom, there's a possibility there is somebody in a stall doing their business. So it's there, and it's funny, it's well timed, it's clever. It's just not enough of it. There's not, like, once this movie starts to drag, it just keeps dragging. Um, Again, it's nowhere near the worst movie I've seen this year. But it has some problems. I think Tobey Maguire is a great actor, and he did a really good job with this role. It wasn't necessary. The movie would have been fine without him. And again, it would have saved us 20 minutes. And maybe we left the movie that length and given that 20 minutes to some of these other characters who just kind of step in and out, but don't really have an arc. Because there is an Asian character who's a lesbian, but you're only kind of, like, she has a very overt song, and then it's hinted that she eventually starts a relationship with Margot Robbie's character, but that is so quickly taken care of that it's barely a thing in the movie. And then we get, and then she's just gone. She is just gone. Yeah, again. Also, Margot Robbie's character has no resolution. Like, you find out what happens to her character, but you find out what happens to her character off screen. Like, it's a newspaper that tells you what happened. And for a major character, that seemed weird. Also because her character isn't the most likable character in the world. You kind of want to see the comeuppance of the fast lifestyle that she lived of drugs and just wanting to be in a party all the time. Like, you want to see the consequences. They tell you there are consequences, but you don't see the consequences. Again, it's a fine movie. I don't recommend it just because it's 3 hours long. I think if this movie was a little over 2 hours, I'd be recommending it as something, oh yeah, it's worth watching. Yeah, it's only 2 hours. But this is a 3 hour long movie. It's not. I can't recommend it just for whatever kind of a watch. You have to really want to watch this movie and watch a movie about the perils of Hollywood, I guess. I'm kind of, like, confused as to what the actual, like, point of this film was. I'm thinking it's the perils of Hollywood, but I also think oh, so at the end of the movie, they end up. This is why I think the perils of Hollywood or the greatness of Hollywood, that Hollywood will live on forever. I'm not 100% sure what they were going for, but at the end of the movie, they start showing clips of, like, the future, because it ends in the 50s. So they start showing clips of the future of movies. So eventually you get to, like, Terminator 2 and The Matrix, and then it shows a clip of Avatar, a movie that's released a week after, like, 2 weeks, 2 weeks after Avatar's sequel comes out. You're putting it on the screen going, hey, look, you might wanted to have seen this instead. Just say it. Like, it's a weird choice. And it has a really artsy ending that I don't think it earns. Again, because it doesn't use its time wisely. And it has a lot of it. That it has this really artsy ending. It's like, I don't care. Just end. Why aren't you over yet? You want me to figure out the meaning, but it's been 3 hours of stuff, and I'm not sure there is a meaning. I'm not sure there is a meaning to the movie Babylon. I think it's well acted. I think it's well shot. But I think whatever meaning the director wanted is lost. I think it's lost. I'm a movie person, and it's lost on me. Again, it might be the perils of Hollywood. It might be that Hollywood is ever changing, and therefore not everyone makes the transition correctly to the next thing. Though I think that one's a less impactful one. Like, I think silent pictures to talkies is the biggest. If you spend too long, you get pulled down. Like, I don't know. Anyways. Excuse me, I'm really sorry I did that. Anyways, Babylon, I saw it. I'll be putting together my top 10 that'll run the second week of January. So check that out when it goes up on the main channel. My top 10 favorite movies of 2022 were. Otherwise, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I don't think I'll be doing another one of these between now and then. There's nothing really to cover. And I don't think I'm going to have a random idea like my Gremlins movie to book comparison that I did yesterday. So yeah, have a good one. I'm Martin Prevost, Smashy Smashy Eggman's movie reviews and more. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one.